Once upon a time, in a large forest, there lived a red squirrel named Pipi. Pipi was very energetic and hardworking. The whole forest knew her as a true laborer. Autumn was the most responsible time of the year for Pipi because it was then that she collected nuts and other supplies for the winter. But that year, autumn was especially generous, and Pipi gathered a record number of nuts. While Pipi was busy gathering nuts, her best friend, a grey hare named Platon, was always by her side. Platon was calm and thoughtful, quite unlike Pipi, but this difference in their characters made their friendship so strong. Platon always helped Pipi carry heavy bags of nuts and suggested the best places to hide them. Winter came. Snow covered the forest with a fluffy white blanket, and everything around became quiet and peaceful. One day, Pipi decided to check her supplies, but to her horror, she couldn't remember where she had hidden all her nuts. Pipi searched the entire forest, running through all the familiar places, but the nuts were nowhere to be found. Panic set in. What should I do, she thought. How will I survive the winter without my supplies? Seeing how upset Pipi was, Platon immediately came to her aid. Don't worry, Pipi, together we will surely find your nuts, he said confidently. Platon suggested they take the car and drive around all the possible places where Pipi might have hidden her supplies. Great idea, exclaimed Pipi, and they set off at once. Their car was old but reliable and had served them faithfully for many years. First, they drove to the large oak tree in the clearing, as Pipi often hid nuts there. They got out of the car and began searching around the tree, digging through the snow and checking every bush. But there were no signs of the nuts. Pipi was starting to lose hope, but Platon didn't give up. Let's remember all the places we visited in the fall, he suggested. We were also by the river, remember, Pipi replied. And they headed to the river. They searched there for a long time, but again without success. What should we do? Where else could we have been, Pipi asked herself. Do you remember when we walked by the old oak on the hill, Platon reminded her. Pipi remembered that she indeed had hidden some nuts there. They went to the hill, and upon reaching the old oak, they started searching again. This time, Platon noticed a small burrow under a bush near the oak. What if you hid them here, he suggested. Pipi looked into the burrow and, to her great joy, found some of her nuts there. We found them. We found them, she shouted with delight. But this was only part of the supplies. Let's keep looking, Platon proposed. Pipi remembered another place, an old spruce on the other side of the forest. They headed there, and upon arriving at the spruce, Pipi noticed a familiar mound under the snow. Digging it up, they found the rest of the nuts. Pipi was overjoyed. They gathered all the found nuts and returned to the car. The road home was calm, and Pipi kept thanking Platon for his help. You're a true friend, she said. I couldn't have done it without you. Back home, Pipi and Platon laid out the nuts and settled in for a cozy evening. They brewed fragrant tea and enjoyed the warmth of the fireplace. Sitting in her chair, Pipi said, This winter could have been very hard for me if it weren't for you, Platon. Thank you so much. Oh, Pipi, that's what friends are for, to help each other, Platon replied with a smile. And now, let's enjoy the evening. We've earned it. Thus, Pipi and Platon spent that evening reminiscing about their adventures and being happy that everything had turned out well. From then on, Pipi became more attentive to her supplies, and Platon was always nearby, ready to help in difficult times. The winter passed quietly and comfortably, and Pipi and Platon's friendship grew even stronger. Every evening they gathered by the fireplace, drank tea, and told each other stories. And each time they remembered how they had searched for the nuts together and laughed about their adventures. So the winter went by, and with the arrival of spring, Pipi and Platon started preparing for the new season. But now they knew that together they could overcome any difficulties, because true friendship is the most important thing in life.